Good afternoon. It is 4:06, and we are live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State with a full house here in the studio as we talk about and basically have the Big Check event for Ben Franklin Technology Partners right here in our studio. So let's welcome in our Ben, Mr. Ben himself,
yes,
Brian Slaywin. How are you?
Hey, I'm so proud, excited. I feel like a dad when their little children are off doing great things. Hardly little children. These are awesome tech professionals, and we're so excited at the Ben Franklin Technology Department to have invested in and now do a big check on TalkErie. So thanks for having us over.
All right, so give us kind of the parameters of the application and how somebody would succeed in getting this kind of investment from Ben Franklin for the big check.
So Tom won't remember this, but I was driving back from Youngstown one day, and he called me and he said, "Hey, I've got an idea. What do you think?" So he shared me the idea. It's really a tech spin out from his call center business at Expedia Interaction Marketing. And I said, I think that's brilliant. Let's talk. So we talked, and some paperwork and a pitch and, the whole thing. And now here we sit all those months later, and Tom is just absolutely exploding a really innovative company. And he'll tell you more about that.
Yep.
Same with Erin. Erin and I got on the phone one day, and she said, "Hey, I've got this idea." And I said, what about this other idea, leveraging your subject matter expertise in event planning, global event planning, and there's these technologies out there. This could be something really interesting. So she thought about it and said, this sounds interesting. I'd love to figure it out, but I don't know anybody who can do this. And so we tapped into the Radius Co-work Network. Barry was a member or is a member of Radius. And so, match made in heaven. And now we've got another AI-based company doing something superbly interesting in the AI space for event planners.
And so they both applied for this round of the big check?
Yeah.
And what was at stake? How much money were you putting up, I guess?
Well, so it's not as much of an application as it is a due diligence process.
Okay.
So the process really starts with just finding me or reaching out to me. Mm-hmm. We've talked about no wrong door, right?
Sure.
Anybody in the economic development system will take a call, will listen to the person, will say, "Hey, Ben Franklin is probably the place you need to be," and ultimately that's how we found each other. And then we go through a series of due diligence steps. So it's not an application as much. Like, this isn't a bank loan. This is actually an at-risk investment.
Okay. So, so you're putting some skin in the game be able to advance these two firms. So let's go ahead and introduce the firms. I'm going to start with Tom. Tom Laird. Again, you were on the show, I think originally, Tom. It's got to be 2-3 years now.
Yeah, I was down with ETI with Matt.
Yes,
we did this.
That's right.
Summertime. I was down here as well.
Yeah, again, that was. But
you're right. We did talk a couple years ago on Expedia.
On Expedia, and so tell the folks about your call center business, and then how you're kind of putting it up a notch with Auto QA.
So this has been a tool that we never thought we were going to sell. So in the call center world, there is, agents taking calls and making calls. And then there's the people in the back room, right? Mm-hmm. And they're listening, and they're literally scoring calls, right? So, they'll listen and say...
These are the quality assurance personnel.
managers, the QA staff. So they'll say, "Hey, did the agent use the proper greeting?" Yes, 5 points. Did they use empathy? Did they cross-sell when they should have? And they score these calls. And a lot of times, this is how you coach. This is kind of how you find out. So... at Expedia, we had 12, 13 of these QA managers back there, and we said, when AI kind of came and ChatGPT, what are some of the kind of the low-hanging fruit where we could utilize some of this AI technology? So I'm kind of crazy, and I come up with a lot of weird ideas. And my IT staff normally is like, "Tom, we can't do that," or "That's a little out of our scope." But this is something that they really got behind. So what we developed is Auto QA, OTTO QA. And we just were using large language models and AI to fully score contact center quality, right? So that person who's listening to calls now can really go away and do more human things, right? They can coach, right? They can actually do the things I think that make a little bit of a difference. So,
let me cut you off for a second there, because you had to wait till the technology was able to understand voice recognition at a high level, right? I mean, I'm not even sure that my Echo device and my Alexa really gets me.
Yeah, no, and so
You know?
the process of how this works is we will take a contact center, take their call recordings.
Okay.
We will kind of click the analyze button, the quick way to saying it. We go out and we get a full chat transcript. So we
So
transcribe
you start
the
with
call.
the transcript. Okay.
We bring the transcript back to our platform that's in the cloud, and then we append our system prompt, the questions, how we're going to prompt for those questions, the output, and then that transcript. And then we send it to the large language models. One of the interesting things that we found is we started with all these evolutions of ChatGPT, and we're doing okay.
Yeah.
But then when the Anthropic models, which is Claude
Claude,
3.5
yeah.
Sonnet came out, it's taken us. So we are about 96% accurate, which is more accurate than if you scored a call and I scored a call. We're going to be off, a
Yes.
little bit. So now we're in that range where we're going to be more
So
accurate. than
it understands what your operator is saying, what the response from the buyer is saying, and it is able to analyze the key phrases.
I think the really cool thing, and I was just talking to the group here too, is so we're really good at agent behaviors, right? So did the agent do this? Did they do that? But the other thing that we're starting to find is companies using it for an analytics tool, right? So, we have one customer that just, again, I don't want to say they don't care about their agents, but for our use case, they're using it just to understand why customers are canceling. So we ask 10, 11 questions on why a customer could be canceling. And then Auto will say, this is the reason. Then we can pull all those reports and then be like, hey, out of the 2,332 calls that we analyzed last week, 97% of the customers were canceling because, they were using the phrase too expensive, or they the last time that you raised your prices, there was a huge dip, and they're saying that it's talking about a competitor. So we can really do the analytics on top of just doing the agent behavior stuff too, all using AI.
I probably shouldn't even be saying this on the air, but you realize that this engine that you've created, Auto QA, could be used like, hey, is our marketing message, being fed back to us? Is this politician's campaign and their main closing argument being heard?
Yep. We say what we're really doing, all we're doing is we're asking questions of data using AI, right? So the use cases are really through the roof. Like we had somebody who wanted us to scope out their TED Talk. Right. So
sure.
So they're like, hey, I want to make sure during my 17-minute or 18-minute TED Talk that I hit all of these different things, and we were able to kind of help, which was just a kind of a cool use case for. So
right.
there is a lot of different use cases for sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about if you're on a call out, like a survey call out thing, and you're hoping that these people in this demographic are feeding back, I like Coke Zero.
Right. Well, and to go with that is we can do sentiment as well, right? So agent sentiment or the customer sentiment. So to start to judge some of that, we can use the voice and we can use the words that are being said and kind of feed them together. The next iteration of this, it will be and we thought ChatGPT 4, because they had video.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at the actual screen then, right?
Oh, my
Because that's
goodness.
the thing. So did the agent, when they clicked on this and pulled this drop down and made that, did they not make a mistake and tie really the video with the audio all together? That's kind of the next thing that we're hoping for when a ChatGPT 5 or a Claude 4.5 or whatever the next iteration of AI comes out.
Right.
We can use that.
One of these days, I'm going to try to figure out what the funding model is with these large language deals. I mean, how do they make their money?
Yeah,
because
so
they are making money, right?
It's token based, and so think about the amount of words, right,
Yeah.
in a transcript. There's a certain percentage, right? So I will tell you for a 10-minute call, say it has 3,000, 4,000 words, it costs us about 4 to 5, 6 cents. Right, with the amount of tokens, right. So it is now we pay for about 2 to 3 cents as well to get the transcript. So
yeah, but that's cheaper than you buying a soda on your credit card at the
100%. Yeah, so we've been able to find the right model that does has the best accuracy and is a scalable model for a lot of these contact centers that are using human power to do things that we don't really have to now. I think it's kind of the low-hanging fruit of AI here too.
Yeah. All right.
The technical cost of goods sold is minuscule compared to the upside price potential that Tom is like.
Right.
We have every couple of weeks, one of my colleagues and Tom will get on a Zoom call and just talk about the entire business. There's huge revenue potential already being realized because you've already got real live paying customers on the platform.
You realize this is like basically saying to Exxon, I'm going to take this oil and I'll give you pennies on the dollar for what it took for you to create this, to create this well. I mean, that's kind of close?
That's reasonably close. And then Tom is the car that sits on top of that platform that says, I can get you to 100 miles an hour and it won't cost you X.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus you could go at 50 and it's going to cost you 10 times as much with a more human-focused interpretation. So it's a super, I say better, faster, cheaper all the time.
Yeah.
What Aaron, Barry, and Tom are building truly is better, faster, cheaper.
And what I like about it too, and again, I shouldn't be doing editorial comments, but this is truly exciting, is that you really haven't taken any people out of the equation. You've just upped the quality level of your screeners and of your call people. Your incomings.
100%. Like we said, like our QA managers are now, they're going either back on the phones. We have, most of them are supervising. You still have to coach. Like that's the next iteration of this that, we'll talk about later is trying to make this full circle so that we're using some of this technology to help to coach the agents as well. But at this point, it's the tool that I think can really enhance the quality of a lot of contact centers at pennies compared to what they're paying for now and doing it at scale.
All right, so that's Auto QA. We're going to take our first break here. It's 4:18. When we get back, we were going to talk about Event.io and, again, another super exciting AI-based and with a little flair, for your next event. It's TalkErie and the Joel Natale Show, the Big Check event live. Getting into technology and the AI of it all. It's the Joel Natale Show here on TalkErie. And let's pivot over to Aaron Kerner and to Barry Snyder from Event.io. All right, give us the story about Event.io, Aaron. Let's start with you. Again, concept and where it's at, and then we'll move forward from there.
Sure. So Event.io is basically a web-based platform that is leveraging artificial intelligence to help people plan and execute their event. So we offer help with everything from ideation, you coming up with your concept, if you're planning a dinner party, what your menu is. We can help show images of what your event would look like with a little prompt, a little description of what you're hoping to see, and you can edit as many times as you want until you get your perfect vision that you want to bring to life. We help in the planning phase, getting you organized with suggesting, what your task list should look like from, if you're doing a wedding and you're planning a year, what does your task look like from month 1 to month 12 and what the milestones you should be hitting. And we'll be able to kind of automatically remind you when those things should be getting done by, so you don't miss a detail, nothing's forgotten. It's almost like a little personal assistant in your pocket to help you bring your event to life. And then lastly, on the execution, you'll be able to search vendors based on your budget. Budget's a really big factor in a lot of events, and people spend a lot of time researching vendors, cold calling to see if they can support their event. And a lot of times you call and then their minimum spend is out of your budget. So now you've wasted time conversing about something that's never going to come to reality. So we're trying to take that process, condense it, and make more, accurate suggestions and help people bring their event to life faster, better, within their budget.
It sounds like there's like multiple levels of databases, like almost like 3D chess here, because you're saying, okay, I want to have this Mexican themed dinner party, and I want to use special plates, and those special plates are available at Target. So you have to find out, what's gonna be the thematic things, right? I mean, is that you guys doing all that research?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
It's our AI being able to say, okay, yes, you want this Mexican-themed dinner party. We can generate an image of what that's going to look like, and we've layered on image recognition to show you what's in the photo that you've just seen and fell in love with, and where you can buy those things, and we'll give you the links to click immediately and go purchase those things to save you from scouring the internet for hours trying to execute this vision that you've fallen in love with, and you can do it now in minutes instead of hours or days.
Tell us a little bit, Barry, about some of the engine behind this. Again, are you using ChatGPT, or is it more using the Amazon Web resource? I mean, talk about some of the engine behind it.
So as a CTO, I'm kind of responsible for making sure that we have the platform to be able to deliver all these services to users. And behind the scenes, we have numerous services we're putting together. We have product recommendation services. We have conversational services, like all kinds of integrations with third-party tools. And what we're setting up is an AI agent that is orchestrating what services are relevant to a user based on what it is that they're inquiring about, or maybe they don't even know what they are looking for, and we kind of tap into the general AI model's ability to kind of just come up with its own ideas to give suggestions. We're leveraging OpenAI for the language model, the language model itself, but the system's been built in a way where it's agnostic to the model. We could easily plug in any future model that is more capable without having to rebuild all the services, because the language model itself is kind of just this back, like root layer kind of service that you can just plug in and out as needed.
Where do reviews? Again, I'm thinking about this Mexican dinner party. Maybe the plates that would look amazing are just, they're not up to snuff, and maybe they get some middling to poor reviews. Would it be able to assess that out, or?
Absolutely. So in the beginning, one of our big partners will be Amazon. So you'll be able to see right then and there what people have already said about that particular product.
Gotcha.
And then at some point we may enable our users to say, okay, yeah, the Eventio recommended this, I used it, and I loved it. And so we'll have our own internal rating system as we get further along. But initially, you'll just be able to see on whatever website is being recommended.
Right. So if you're pointing people to Target, you'll see the Target
rating.
Reviews or,
Yes.
or so on. How does this work for, like, again, we're talking about a wedding, let's talk about like DJs and photographers and all those service-based groups. Sure. Do they have to contact you to say, hey, can you include us on your Eventio?
So initially, if you've got a website and you're discoverable on Google, you'll be able to be discoverable through Eventio. So some fun things that Barry's doing on the back end will allow that to happen. But what I think will make us great in the long term is we're going to have a vendor onboarding process where we want additional information that maybe you can't find on the internet. That's going to be living in our data in the background. That's not necessarily still public, but allows our AI to make smarter recommendations about which vendors you should be, using for this particular event. So
it's scanning the knot. It's scanning all of these different like wedding websites.
yes.
And bringing that to bear here.
Exactly. And then, we're going to take a city by city approach, and we'll start right here in Erie since we're here.
Yeah.
And we'll connect with the vendors locally to, again, get more information. So we have things that, again, give us a little bit more of an advantage and help, educate our users a little more on what these companies offer that allow them not to have too many cold call conversations again. But if they're giving us the right parameters, we can smartly, in the background, connect them based on what they need.
What was the felt need? Well, where did the spark come from for you, Aaron?
This is a problem I experienced in my previous career. I was the head of client events and strategic partnerships for Louis Vuitton, so I was doing events all over the country. We had a very lean team. It was very stressful. There were lots of details all the time. Sometimes they were getting missed, and we were a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate managing our events on spreadsheets and PowerPoints. And I thought to myself, there's got to be a better way.
Wow.
So when everyone started talking about AI, I just started playing with it and seeing the capabilities, and I was blown away. And I thought, how can I pair AI with something that would have helped me in my last role? So I'm really building a product that I would have wanted and been able to use and would have really helped streamline my process and make my life so much easier. So
again, just to kind of key off what we were talking about with Tom, I could see where this technology could be used, for example, for an advanced team for a political campaign or for a film shoot. You're going into San Antonio. You don't know who's doing craft services.
Yep.
You don't know, who the good DP is, the director of photography is, who the good lighting people are. And again, I know that there's directories out there, but if you want specialists or somebody that, knows how to catch the golden hour.
Yep. Exactly. That's why we're going to get extra information from the vendor so they can really let us know what they specialize in. So if people are saying certain keywords to our AI, it's scanning what's happening in the background and say, oh, this vendor does exactly what you're asking, and it can partner them.
So what we found super interesting and what both Tom as well as Aaron and Barry are building is that they're building core technology.
Yes.
And they are absolutely laser focused on this first market, first mover advantage that they've got. But this can go anywhere. This can be something else. It can be, instead of events, it's something else. Instead of call center QA, it could be another market. So that's frankly why we invested. We invest, as you know, Joel, we've talked about this hundreds of times. We invest in really smart people. And so when I got to meet Erin and really hear what her vision is, and I got to meet Tom and listen to what he was doing, I immediately saw, no-brainer for us at Ben Franklin. These are super smart people who are going to figure out their market, who are going to build a technology platform, and then where that goes, only the future can tell. That's why we invest in people like Tom and Aaron and Barry.
And that's really what we're after here as a Commonwealth. Again, this Ben Franklin, it's nationally and world renowned because it scratches where these entrepreneurs itch. They need this funding. They need this bridge to get to the next level, right?
Well, yeah, but it's always driven by the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's not us going, you really need to turn left here. Hey, did you turn left? I see your blinkers on. Are you turning left? That's not really how we do it. They're coming to us with, I think I need to turn left. Can you help me through that decision? And we do. We will. So it's driven by these outstanding entrepreneurs that we're privileged to know and work with and invest in.
Going to news, it's TalkErie. Thanks for tuning in to Talk Erie on your radio, 105.9 WZTE, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 429 State Street. And we're talking entrepreneurship. And we're having the Big Check event with the Ben Franklin Technology Partners here live in our studios. Ben Franklin Brian, Ben Frank Brian is his handle on X. Brian Slaywin is with us here. He's the regional director. What's so cool too, Brian, when you think about Ben Franklin, you got northern and central PA. That's kind of your bailiwick, but you've also got southwestern and mid-central and all over the place.
Yeah, the Ben Franklin Technology Partners is a 45-year-old company that invests in technology startups and small manufacturers. We're always looking at innovation as our core. Like, you got to check that box. Is this an innovative thing that you're doing? And our mission, everyone loves when a company exits and does great things because that creates more money and spreads around. But our mission is jobs creation, especially jobs of the future, like these two companies today. These are jobs that can carry us for 20, 50 years, the way people are looking at how they're going to use technology to not only create a whole company around, but the things that they're going to do with it. So that's the way we look at it, and that's how we make decisions about investing. And then, we're fortunate enough to meet amazing entrepreneurs like Aaron and Barry and Tom, and they do super great things.
Again, Aaron Kerner and Barry Snyder from Eventio and Tom Laird from AutoQA. Again, two companies doing totally separate things, but using AI as a key component here. And, You're growing up these companies in Erie, Pennsylvania. And Tom, grab that mic because I want to ask you, what are the positives and maybe what are some of the challenges of kind of blooming where you're planted here in Erie?
Well, I know, not to speak for Aaron, but Aaron had a ton of opportunities, right? And came back to do something cool. I think when you're born and raised, both of us, and Maybe I'll tell the quick story now. When Aaron and I met, Aaron forgets that I coach basketball at prep on the girls' side.
Oh, you do?
And Aaron was one of the studs
at Villa,
at St.
right?
Luke's.
Oh, at St. Luke's.
Mercy's Prep, right. And when I was starting at St. George, Aaron was beating our tail. Yeah. So it was just kind of funny to I guess, put it all back together.
That's awesome.
But I think, again, born and raised in Erie, being a prep grad, starting a business in Erie, you want to do something cool. Like you want to, I guess, put your name on something. And there's a lot of experience that I have in the contact center world. And I think I'm a technology driven person. So, this was something that I thought was something that is moving faster than I thought. We're 26-ish customers right now. We have a couple really large names, a lot of
using this technology.
That are using it, right? Wow. So it's been, I think that this investment from Ben Franklin came at the right time for us to try to help us scale. Luckily, we were able to have a contact center where we can test, right? We can have our internal customers as our beta customers, which I think gives us a little bit of an advantage as well. But I think you just, from the Erie aspect, there is not a lot of real, I think it's the entrepreneurship kind of ecosystem is getting so much better. I'm a board member at ETI. There's a lot of things that is happening at ETI. What's happening here with Ben Franklin, but you have to make the phone call, right? Like Brian and there's so many people that are out there that are willing to help. No matter how crazy you think your back of the napkin idea is, it's the ecosystem is getting just so much better than even it was 5-10 years ago. That I can't see that this would have happened 10 years ago, right?
Interesting.
But now that we have starting to get really some things in place, it's becoming a much better environment to create something.